England 23, France 20. England get the huge win. France's Grand Slam dream is over. Wales will certainly be very happy with this win, but England deserve the win. France, some individual brilliance, but England do enough in the end to get over the line, and what a great game. Hi guys, welcome back. So we've got this thriller 23-20 and it's a really good tussle. Both sides ambitious, a bit loose at times, but definitely attacking intent from both sides. You've got to say England with a really good attitude were really on the French all the time. France at times executed some absolute magic, but for consistency of performance, England definitely get the nod. I thought we might get a slight loss to England, but I'd still be fairly happy with the performance. Certain things I'm not completely happy with, but they definitely deserve the win. Well done to them, and France will be gutted, but they needed to do better. They consistently weren't good enough, although there was some good play in there. So let's get into this game and pick up some themes as we go through it. There's a try almost straight away for France. I mean, what a start to the game. Dupont, Olivon, Vakatawa, all very dangerous. And England did struggle to contain these guys when they attack well. They are a bit quicker, they are a bit more powerful, probably all over the park, certainly in midfield. And those guys caused trouble straight away. Teddy Thomas, who had a good game, really good chip chase. Sits up well for Dupont, who reads it. Try 7-0, 1 minute in. Wow. But then, England go into a really good period of play. Johnny May regathers a kick, initiates a really good attack. And Johnny May and Anthony Watson had a great game. Both of them. Kick chase was good. They look sharp. They look quick. It's probably a bit too late for these England players to come into good form because the tournament's gone. It just seemed to take them, it's taken them like 4 or 5 weeks to get into form. So, anyway, they had a really good game. Malins makes a loose pass and they butcher a really good chance. England had a lot of these positions in really good positions and they muck it up. Malin's a 50-50 game. I would like to see him get another start, to be honest. I think he's got a lot of potential. He did make some poor choices and was a bit hesitant at times, but he also did some really good stuff. So he'll be kind of 50-50 on this game. But anyway, I've seen enough there to say give him another start. But anyway, 10 minutes in, all England. Slade slices through very nicely, creates space wide. Ford, really good pass selection as always. He's been good every game he's played for England so far. Watson, nice try out wide. 7-all, really good conversion from Farrell. Then on 12 minutes, Billy Vunipola, who had a really good game. Yes, he's not the quickest and he's never going to be, but he played pretty much as well as he could play actually. But it's taken him 4 weeks of intense training and matches to get to this point. That's kind of the main issue. You can't have that really if you want to win stuff. But that pushes France back 50 metres in the end. Good play from him. And then some really good line speed from England. Their tackling was excellent. Really put France under a lot of pressure. They get a penalty 10-7. England put a lot of pressure on France. They really got to Dupont, especially Atoje, who was all over him. Really impressive work. Got charged downs, forced dodgy passes. So good work. So England are ahead there and probably deserve it even after the blistering first minute from France. And then there's a Marchand break. He played well. And this kind of illustrated for me how Wilson, it's just not quick enough anymore. He's just not quick enough anymore. There's a few questions in midweek saying, why is Underhill not in the team? Well, he would have been. This is where the COVID restrictions have really damaged England because they can't get players back into the squad. Underhill would have started, I'm certain, with Curry. But they couldn't. They had to play Wilson. Earl came on, did some good things, some bad things. But that's a slight weakness in England's side. Underhill, really would have been starting in normal circumstances. But anyway, France do knock that on. And they lose another 60 metres from a mistake. And then there's another good period of England play. Watson makes a stunning break. Really clever block from Yules. Now, Yules is interesting. He's not the quickest, he's not the biggest, but my God, he did almost everything right in this game. Line-outs, carries. They actually selected him. They said they want him to do all the nuts and bolts so Atoje can be great. And that's exactly what happened. So hats off to Eddie Jones in that respect. It really worked. It was the selection I'd gone for as well, so I did want to see that, but it worked perfectly. Yule's doing a lot of the donkey work, a lot of good technical work, and Itoje just being a pain in the bum. I think he only really got caught for a penalty once, and I don't think that was particularly his fault. He got trapped in a ruck. So that was a good balance. We'll come to the bit I don't like in a minute. So try there. It's 13-7 to England. It's looking good. England have been good for 50 minutes solid. Malins does some really good fullback play, and France lose 50 metres. England have to score on 21 minutes. Curry charges down. Again, good pressure from England. But Youngs just dwells too slow at the base at this point. Loses a certain try. I mean, England really lost probably 3 tries they should have scored. I think they should have won by a fair bit more, actually. Anyway, Mako's feet go on 24 minutes and they concede a scrum. And sometimes England got the upper hand. Sometimes Mako's feet went from underneath him. We know Mako can be 50-50 in those situations. And apart from that, he had a pretty good game. But that did happen a couple of times with Mako losing his footing. On 25 minutes, then we get into a bit of a period of French pressure. I make a note here. Farrell just makes an awful tackle, so high, almost jumping on people. But he's taught to tackle that way. We've seen pictures in midweek of tackle being taught to stand up in the tackle. And it's probably just not good enough. He's got to get better tackle technique. It just drives me up the wall. Occasionally it's going to work, but sometimes it just concedes ground. Because how can you knock someone back when you're standing up like that? Plus, you ride the danger of being too high. Anyway, that annoyed me there. And in that whole phase of attack now, England were too easy to make ground against, particularly in midfield. Farrell, Slade, I thought they did okay. But as Ford, Farrell, Slade, it's too small. It's just simply too small and not powerful enough. It's a problem. It is a big problem in balance, and I don't like it. So Wilson in the back row, and then the balance of lack of power in midfield for me is still a problem, even though they won. Something that annoyed me. Anyway, Jalabert, surely he's going to score, but he actually can't ground the ball, which is gutting for him. But there's advantage, so they get a penalty, so it's 13-10. They come back into it. Malin's counter-attacks, but a couple of times, probably twice, Malin's has good counter-attack opportunity and really dawdles. You've just got to go for it sometimes, create momentum, and he's caused England real problems there, and it actually leads to the French try that means they're ahead at half-time. So Malin's, like I said, some good stuff, but that was really poor. They work the ball wide superbly, to be fair. France do. Just perfect execution of a line-out play, then to the backs. Penaud, easy running, out on the right. May, some good kick chase. Watson, some good kick chase. But then, when they're chasing to make the tackle, they come up too quickly and let France step them far too easily. But luckily, Curry saves the day with a vital turnover. So real topsy-turvy first half, lots of action, but France are ahead 17-13. England are probably the tidier team, as in they've got a bit more of possession. They're looking a bit more composed, but when France get the chance, they are very dangerous. Okay, then into the second half. Curry at the heart of a great attack. My God, Curry had a good game in every respect. Carrying is coming on so much. The lines of running is impressive. But France get a good turnover. The French turnover game was excellent. They did make a mess of England's rucks in good English position. I just made a note. It's a great game at this point. Deja vu at this point. Excellent England attack. Youngs makes a good break, and he made some really good breaks in this game. Definitely his sharpest game of the tournament. But again, a good French turnover. They've got to be more clinical in the red zone, and this is definitely a theme England won't be happy with. France get a penalty. They move further ahead, 20-13. And then I've made a note at this point, another good attacking opportunity mucked up by England, and you're just thinking they're just not being clinical enough. France are being loose as well. They're not exactly a fantastically coordinated team either, but England are not capitalising. England do, however, keep in touch with the next penalty, 16-20. They get a bit of an edge in the scrum, but then they lose a penalty later on. Like I said, the French turnover work is excellent. And I made a note here that England are largely the better team, but they're making mistakes and it's killing them. Will they get it together in time to win? And it's a bit harem and scarum, and I've just made a note again, whoever gets one decent phase of attacking play together is probably going to win this one. We go back into a period of England dominance, really. They haven't managed to secure their own ruck well enough, so they're just not managing to make that final play. Sinclair wins a really important scrum penalty. He did well again. But then ×4, ×5 I've put down here of England again getting into great positions and losing it. This time, Genge gets just wiped out in the ruck by Penno, which is so embarrassing. Genge has had a poor tournament. I have to say, I've been rooting for him, but in every match, something's come up where he hasn't looked that great. So, yeah, a bit of a problem there. I imagine Jones will stay with him because he is a favourite. Itoje charged down again on 71. He's been an absolute pain in the arse, which is exactly what he's meant to do. Really getting to the French here, but they muck up another good position. So he's starting to get very tight with about 6 minutes to go. Finally, England get into one good position, final good position, 10 metres out, a line out. They get to a maul, 5 metres out, and then a lovely scoop and drive, so pick and go at pace from Itoje. I love it when forwards do that. Come onto the ball, scoop the ball in one motion. Does he score? Well, in the days before TMO, it would certainly be given, but it's definitely held up at the end. Does he get the tip of the ball onto the grass? I'd probably say, I'm an England fan, but I think yes, just. But my goodness me, the TMO could easily have said, and I was waiting for this, on-field decision was no try. I haven't seen enough to say it was definitely a try. So even though if you watch that clip, you probably say, yeah, I think he scored, it could easily have not been given. Anyway, the break goes to England. I think it was a try anyway. Itoje gets the score. They get the conversion, 23-20. You think it's all over? Earls looks like he gets, Ben Earl gets a good turnover, but he does indeed not support his body weight on the initial lunge for the ball, so the penalty's reversed. But Dupont, of all people, just bottles it at the end, knocks it on, and England win 23-20. So, in the context of the Six Nations, this is all about France not being able to win the Grand Slam. Definitely puts a dent in their title ambitions. England will be delighted with the win, but probably the happiest team of all will indeed be Wales. But the problem with England is it's taken 4 weeks to get to this point, to this performance. I still think there's slight issues in their team structure. Back row, they really need Underhill back. That was a big miss, I think. Midfield, still, even though they've got good parts to their games and they all play pretty well, the balance is well out. Amazing performances from Curry. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Ben Young's by far his best game. Billy, I thought, did really well. Everyone played pretty well. The wingers, especially, I thought were excellent. Ford, again, excellent. So some big ticks for England there, especially with the British and Irish Lions looming. They're putting themselves forward once again. So it's going to be tight. This Lion selection is going to be very tight. Anyway, let me know what you think of the game. I thought England had a good game, but I thought inconsistency, some mistakes could have blown it. Who do you think still not up to standard? What do you think about France? And let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you next time. And I'll see you then.